Hello chess lovers, I have an interesting game for you played by Magnus Carlsen against Teimour Radjabov. The game was played at World Blitz Championship 2012. Believe it or not, but Carlsen started with A4. This is Ware opening, named after Preston Ware, a US chess player who often played uncommon openings. But let's see what are Carlsen's chances after playing this crazy looking A4 move. E5 by Radjabov, E4, Knight F6, Knight C3, Knight C6, Knight F3. If it weren't the pawn on A4, we could have said that this is 4 knights game. Bishop B4, Bishop B5 looks very similar to double bishop Spanish game, and we see castling by both sides. D6, D3, Bishop G4 and Knight E2. Carlsen doesn't mind to have doubled pawns on the king side. Radjabov didn't capture on f3 and played a6. Well, if we move like bishop takes f3, then g takes f3. If knight d4, then white can sacrifice this pawn on f3 by playing king h1. And if knight takes f3, then knight g3. Now the knight is under attack. If knight h4, then c3, kicking away the bishop, and then playing bishop g5. Later white can bring into life this f4 idea. The g file is open, white can attack black king. And of course for a sacrificed pawn, white has a compensation. But after knight e2, Radjabov played a6. Bishop takes c6, b takes c6, knight g3, knight h5, h3, knight takes g3, f takes g3, bishop retreats on d7 square and g4, not allowing any possible f5 moves by black. Bishop c5 check, king h1, queen e7, queen e1. The queen is going to support the knight and white knight is going to jump on f5 square, f6, and there it goes, knight h4. g6 controlling the f5 square, not allowing knight f5, but at the same time this frees the h6 square and white plays bishop h6. Rook f7, rook b1, bishop b6, b3, d5, trying to open up the position. This is what you should do when you have a bishop pair, because bishops love open positions. Knight f3, rook e8, queen g3, bishop c5, rook e1, d takes e4, d takes e4, and bishop d6. Now we will see that by playing bishop d6, Radjabov is planning to play c5, but after c5 the bishop just imprisons itself on d6. A better move was placing the bishop on b4, and then after rook e2 play c5 or g5, trying to somehow trap this bishop, though it's very difficult because white always has this h4 idea. But instead after d takes e4 we see bishop d6, rook e2 and c5. And now if we have a look at black's position, this bishop on d6 looks like a pawn. Knight d2, bishop e6, queen d3, attacking the pawn on a6, but Radjabov played g5, allowing white to capture a6. Queen takes a6, just a free pawn and Carlsen grabs it. Now this passed pawn on a file can be very dangerous, but Radjabov's idea of sacrificing the pawn was to trap this bishop on h6, and now he plays king h8 with the idea of placing the rook on g6 and grab this bishop. Knight c4, bishop takes c4, queen takes c4, rook g8, and h4. White pawns are going to support the bishop. G takes h4, g5, using the fact that the pawn on f6 is pinned. Rook g6, here comes rook f2, intensifying the pressure on f-file, and believe it or not, but in this position Radjabov resigned. Actually there is too much pressure on f-file, and on the other hand looks like black is in Zugzwang. It's very difficult to find a good move for black. If you play king g8, then the rook is going to be pinned, white can simply capture on f6, or if you move away your queen, then again white can capture on f6. This is just a terrible position for black. If c6, then simply white can push the a pawn. If h3, then g3. If bishop c7, then white can capture on f6. This is going to be an easy win for white. This game comes to prove once again how strong is Magnus Carlsen. He can even beat such strong grandmasters by starting the game with a4. If you liked this crazy game, don't forget to give it a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel, more games are coming.